Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Learning Path. This is Dr. B. Meena, Associate Professor, Head Department of Commerce and Vice Principal for Shift 1, Petition College of Arts and Science, Adyar, Chennai. In this video, you are going to learn how to calculate the earnings of the employees under Taylor's differential PCA system. Click the I button to watch my previous videos to know more explanation about the piece wages system and premium bonus plans. Let me check what is the methodology applicable under Taylor's differential PCA system to calculate the earnings of the employees. Under Taylor's method, he is a father of scientific management. Under Taylor's method, how to calculate the earnings of the workers? First of all, the company has to determine the target. What is the standard output to be fixed by the company? And they have to set simultaneously what is the standard time for producing this much of standard output. So the actual performance of the workers with the time taken will be considered. So under Taylor's method, there are two rates applicable. One is 80% for below standard. Another rate is 120% of straight piece rate is applicable for above or at standard. At standard means par with the standard, equal to the standard. So as per Taylor's differential piece system, once you conclude yourself any workers are below the standard means they are eligible to get only 80% of straight piece rate. If you found any workers performance is at standard or above the standard, then he is eligible to get 120% of the straight piece rate system. Under Taylor's differential piece rate system, how to calculate the earnings? Let me check the computation. The earnings formula, actual output into piece rate per unit into the differential applicable, either 80% or 120%. When you are looking at the problem, if the piece rate is not given, you can make use of this formula to calculate the piece rate. So you can apply this formula to calculate the piece rate, standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour. If you found the problem doesn't have the information about the straight piece rate, then you can apply this formula to calculate the piece rate. The formula is standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour. Once you found the straight piece rate, you can compare the actual output of each and every worker with a standard set by the company and come to one conclusion who is below standard, who is at or above standard. For below standard people, 80% will be applicable. At or above standard people, they are eligible to get 120% of the piece rate. And simultaneously, they will ask you to calculate the earnings under straight piece rate system. So how to calculate the straight piece rate system earnings means just you consider the actual output of each and every worker, then multiplied by straight piece rate. So let me check one problem, how to work out the earnings under both straight piece rate system and Taylor's differential piece rate system. Look at the problem. Calculate the earnings of workers of A and B under straight piece system and Taylor's differential piece system from the following particulars. The normal rate per hour 1.80, standard time per unit 20 seconds. Worker A produces 1300 units per day, worker B produces 1500 units per day. So try to have an understanding what is asked in this problem. They ask you to calculate the earnings of the workers, both A and B, under both the methods. What are the methods? We need to calculate the earnings of A and B in straight piece rate system as well as Taylor's differential piece rate system. So under both the methods, we need to apply to calculate the earnings of the workers. Look at the information available. Normal rate per hour only is given. Piece rate is not given. So when piece rate is not given, in the earlier slide, I told you the formula how to calculate the piece rate. Standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour. This is the formula. When the problem doesn't have the piece rate information means we need to apply that formula to calculate the piece rate. And look at the other information. Standard time per unit 20 seconds. So as per this problem, The target is you can take 20 seconds to produce one unit. You can take 20 seconds for one unit. And the information available is A produces 1300 per day, worker B produces 1500 units per day. Per day in the sense 8 hours. So whenever the problem asks the information about the actual output of any workers, if it is given for a day means day assumes 8 hours. So we need to convert this 20 seconds as to be in 8 hours. For 20 second, we will produce one unit mean what is for 8 hours. Then only we can find out the standard output for 8 hours. Once we calculate the standard output for 8 hours, then we'll compare with the actual output of A and actual output of B. The actual output is available here. The actual output is given in the problem. Usually the problem will have the information about the actual output. The only thing is we need to look into the problem whether the standard output is given. So here the standard output is given, that too for one unit, you will take only 20 seconds. You are allowed to take only 20 seconds to produce one unit. Then what is for 8 hours? So what is the standard fixed by the company for 8 hours? So first of all, as per this problem, our calculation will be to calculate the standard output for 8 hours. So the information available is 20 seconds we need to produce one unit min. First of all, I want to convert the seconds into minute. If I convert into a minute, I'll come to know there are 3 units. As per the company standard, a worker can take 1 minute to produce 3 units. So the company is allowing the worker to take 1 minute to 3 minute units means what is for 1 hour. So minute has to be converted. Next step is I need to convert the minute into 1 hour. So how many minutes in 1 hour? 60 minutes. So I have a cross multiplication. So I'll get 180 units. So the company standard target is fixed for 1 hour, 180 units. So the company is setting a target. Within 1 hour, you need to produce 180 units means now the final calculation will be for 8 hours. So 1 hour is equal to 180 minutes means what is for 8 hours. So I have a cross multiplication, you will get this answer 1440 units. So you will come to know what is the standard output for 8 hours fixed by the company 1440 units. So once I calculate the standard output for 8 hours 1440, this has to be compared with the actual output of A and B. What is the actual output of A and B? 1300, B is 1500. So you will come to a conclusion. Standard is 1440, but A produces 1300 only. So we'll come to a conclusion A is below standard, but B produces 1500. So we will come to a conclusion B is above the standard. Okay. So A will get 80 percentage of piece rate. B will get 120 percentage of piece rate as per Taylor's method. Okay. And then 80 percentage of piece rate, 120 percentage of piece rate. But the piece rate is not directly available in the problem. For calculating the piece rate only, this information is given. That is normal rate per hour. So our calculation must be soon after calculating the standard output for 8 hours. My calculation will be to calculate the straight piece rate. How to calculate the straight piece rate? What is the formula I gave? Standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour. What is the rate per hour is given in the problem? Rate per hour is 1.8. And then what is the standard production per hour? Standard production per hour is 180 units. Okay, this is a standard production. Am I right? For 1 hour, 180 units. So 1.8 is the rate per hour as standard, and standard production hour is 180. So the numerator always the rate, the denominator will be the production. Please have it in your reminder. You should not change at any confusion. So rate is in the numerator, production in the denominator, standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour. So once you apply this formula, you will come to know what is the piece rate. As per this problem, the piece rate is 0.01. So I found the standard output for 8 hours, 1440. Then I came to one conclusion. A is below standard, B is above standard. So A will get 80 percentage of piece rate, B will get 120% of piece rate. But the piece rate is not available in the problem directly. So I need to calculate the piece rate by using this information. What is the standard rate per hour divided by standard production per hour? Okay. So once I complete the straight piece rate, then I will move on to calculate the earnings of A and B under both the methods. First I will complete the straight piece system, because the question is having two that is this problem has two questions. One is we need to calculate the earnings and a straight piece system. Other is Taylor's differential piece system. Okay, so I need to calculate the straight piece system earnings. So formula is earnings is equal to actual output into straight piece rate. So what is the actual output of A? 1300. What is the piece rate I calculated now? The piece rate I calculate now 0.01. So 1300 into 0.01 rupees 13. Likewise, I will calculate for B. What is the actual production of B? 1500. And what is the piece rate? 0.01. So what is the earnings of the B? Rupees 15. So this is the formula and calculation to be made if the problem is asking you to calculate the earnings under straight piece rate system. Okay, then I will move on to the next question, the same problem. How to calculate the earnings of A and B under Taylor's. There are two questions in this problem. So I complete the first question, how to calculate the earnings under straight piece system. Next, I'll move on to calculate the earnings of A and B under Taylor's system. So just look at that. A produced 1300 units, but standard is 1440 units. So E is below the standard. So only 80% of piece rate will be given. Look at the calculation. A is equal to, what is its production? 1300. What is the piece rate? We calculate 0.01. And the rate applicable, the differential rate applicable for A is 80 percentage. So 1300 into 0.01 into 80 percentage, you will get 10.4. Next, B produced 1500 units, but standard is 1440. So E is above the standard. So therefore, E will get 120% of piece rate. So B's earnings is equal to 1500 is production. Piece rate is 0.01 into what is the differential applicable for him, because he is above the standard 120%. So if you complete this calculation, you will get the answer as rupees 18 as the earnings of B under Taylor's differential piece system. Let me check one more problem. Rajan Limited follow the Taylor's differential piece system, 80 and 120 being the differentials for below standard and above standard work. From the following, ascertain the earnings of workers of X and Y. Standard time 15 minutes per unit, time worked 8 hours, units produced X and Y is given, and normal piece rate is given. So let's look at this difference between the first problem and the second problem. In this problem, piece rate is given. So we need not to calculate the piece rate. And look at the time work. Both the X and Y work for 8 hours. Their actual production is 28 and 35. And look at the standard fixed by the company. The company fixed the standard time 15 minutes for producing one unit. So this calculation for producing one unit, we are allowed to take 15 minutes means what is the standard production for 8 hours. So this 15 minutes timing has to be converted for 8 hours. Then only there is a feasibility of comparing the standard with the actual. Okay, and look at this problem. This problem has the information about the differential rates 80 and 120 for below and above. So you should not expect for all the problem this information will given. You must know what are the differentials applicable for below or at or above standard under Taylor's differential. Some problems they may give you the differentials, but you must know the rules behind each and every method. Now look at that. My calculation is, first calculation is calculation of standard output for 8 hours. So 15 minutes, they gave the time. Okay, they gave the information this problem. Standard time 15 minutes for one unit. So this is the company fix the target. You will produce one unit by taking 15 minutes. So you are allowed to take 15 minutes for one unit means what is for 1 hour? 1 hour just equal to 60 minutes. So have a cross multiplication, you will get the answer 4 units. For 1 hour, 4 units means what is for 8 hours? So that gives you 32 units. So I completed what is the standard output for 8 hours, that gives you 32 units. Once I calculate standard output, I'll always tell you that is to look at the problem where the piece rate is given. As per this problem, the piece rate is given. Now we will move on to calculate the earnings of the workers. So calculation of earnings for X and Y. X produced 28 units, but standard is 32. So E is below the standard. Only 80% of piece rate will be given. X is equal to, what is this production? 28. What is the piece rate given in the problem? 2 rupees. And what is the differential applicable? 80 percentage. So you'll get the answer rupees 44.80. Y produced 35 units, but standard is only 32. So the conclusion is, so E is above the standard. Therefore, 120% piece rate will be given. Y is equal to 35 into, what is this production? 35. And piece rate is 2. So what is the differential applicable? 120 percentage. So you will get the answer as 84. So this is all about how to calculate the earnings of the workers under Taylor's differential piece rate system. Thanks for watching my video. See you again next video. Until then, bye bye.